Hi, I'm Pat McCabe. I'm a Monaghan writer, and I wrote a play called The Leaves of Heaven, which I'm collaborating with Joe O'Byrne, the original director of Frank Pig Says Hello, who's a long-standing collaborator of mine. The Leaves of Heaven is the companion piece and really the sequel, I suppose, to the original play Frank Pig Says Hello, which was about a damaged boy whose search for love, I suppose. And this is about a damaged man in his search for love, I suppose. Well, I suppose the question people would ask, why write a play called The Leaves of Heaven? Why go back to the story of Francie Brady? Well, for me, the story of Francie Brady is ongoing. While it was about a boy, it was also about a soul. And as the world changes or seems to change, the anxiety within souls or the incompleteness within souls remains the same, and probably never more so now than it is now, possibly in a post-spiritual kind of landscape. I don't really know, but really what The Leaves of Heaven does is finishes the story of Francie Brady's metaphysical journey or spiritual journey as I see it. He ends up in the same mental hospital, which is Dundrum Psychiatric Facility in South Dublin, awaiting to be transferred to a new modern facility. And I suppose the backstory of the play is the ostensible social and cultural changes of the country in which he lives, which is Ireland, which take in all sorts of things. But also the undertow of the play would be that the more things change, as Shakespeare said, the more they remain the same. And that the anxieties and the kind of hole in his heart or his soul that was there is destined perhaps never to, the ache is destined never to be assuaged. And perhaps what is most interesting in a way is that the forces perhaps which would have been of comfort to his parents' generation, and indeed him, are no longer really available to him and his peers, and that creates yet another existential crater, I think, which is explored. So in a way it's a Catholic, post-Catholic investigation.
My name is Joe O'Byrne, and I'm directing the new play by Pat McCabe called The Leaves of Heaven. It's 24 years since I directed the Frank Pig, and to be honest, it only seems like yesterday. But the character has spent all of his life living in a mental asylum, and it really is the play is very much about his search for redemption, for forgiveness. And he, in the earlier story, committed a very brutal crime in the murdering of a woman. And he's not a character who is necessarily crazy. He just has committed a terrible act and has been incarcerated, and all his life now is devoted to dealing with the past, dealing with what he did, and trying to find some solace, some redemption, some relief from the guilt that he feels.